Batman Arkham Origins, a game known by many as the bad one of the Arkham franchise. Why is it the bad one, you may ask? Well, the game practically bombed compared to its predecessors. While Arkham City was set to be this timeless classic, Arkham Origins on the other hand was being called this bland, lazy, unpolished piece of garbage. Now here's the thing, I finished Origins having not seen any of its criticism, and I gotta say, this game is absolutely fantastic, especially the story is that Batman must fend for himself after a villain decides to put a bounty on his head. It's overall not a masterpiece narrative by any means, but it's definitely a lot more interesting compared to games like Arkham City, for example. In that game, the story's conflict had no real weight to it. Every single problem Batman encountered was solely because it was the villain's fault. Thankfully in Origins, Batman is instead given a conflict that isn't just because of the villain's fault, but his own as well. A villain didn't decide to put a bounty on Batman's head for any old reason. Batman scared this villain so badly that they wanted revenge. Just hearing that ups the stakes by a mile, making it much more personal and ironic since Batman himself is to blame for most of his problems during the story. Now you gotta admit, that sounds like a great story. You know what else is pretty great? The main gameplay. Now I know a lot of reviewers have said that the gameplay of this and the other Arkham games makes you feel like Batman, but that's not exactly the case. Instead, it makes you feel like you're playing as Batman, as if he was originally designed as a video game character. It takes some of his most well-known traits, his crime-fighting skills, detective work, and stealthiness, and translates them into game mechanics, combat, puzzle solving, and stealth. The combat consists of this free-flowing battle system where you attack enemies using a strike button while trying to rhythmically dodge their attacks using a block button. It's simple and gets progressively more hectic and engaging in later parts of the game, although it's sort of watered down when you unlock the shock gloves. It's this gadget exclusive to Origins that essentially gives you the ability to shift from playing as Batman into the Flash. It spices up the combat to be fair, but it should have been nerfed way more to be actually fair. Going on to something a little less violent, the puzzle solving is pretty neat. It involves you having to survey an area, looking for clues to solving a conundrum. Some puzzles are kinda dumb and give you basic problems like, oh, how will Batman get out of this room with only one exit? But for the most part, puzzles are cool. Having moments where you get tested with a gauntlet of challenges or a crime scene that needs to be investigated. Now the best part of the game has got to be the stealth. Batman is tremendously weak against firearms, so to counteract it, he utilizes the element of surprise.
Gotcha, bitch!
The amount of sheer creativity that you can use to take out enemies during these sections is honestly just unbelievable. You can strike foes by sneaking behind them, knock them out by hanging off of gargoyles above them, surprise attack them by popping out of vents nearby, just a lot. Plus, with the addition of the grapple claw, it allows you to tether any two things together, adding a whole new layer of inventiveness. Now on to the open world. Wow! They really messed this up. Arkham Origins open world honestly felt like an afterthought by the developers. The main story gameplay is pretty much flawless, throwing new and exciting things at you every minute, while the open world side content felt rushed and put together at the last minute. Barely any citizens or moving vehicles are seen whatsoever, the majority of missions are lazy repeats of each other, the map is arranged chaotically, bugs and glitches are riddled throughout the PS3 version. It's just a big mess.
Enough!
Ever thought what would be the end of Batman? Well, I don't think the first thing in mind would be a ladder. Although the open world surprisingly did have its moments, it was just in general disappointing.
Who are you? They call me Bird!
Arkham Origins may not be better than Arkham City, but it for sure doesn't deserve the title of the bad one of the Arkham franchise. It's a definite must-have for people who enjoy the Arkham games and is a great starting option for people who've never played an Arkham game before. Overall, I really hope the developer Warner Bros. Montreal can learn from the downfalls of this game in order to improve its heavily rumored sequel, Arkham Origins 2.
Maybe he can give them something to believe in.
I give Batman Arkham Origins an 8, because it's great.